Hey guys, this is Circuits Don't Make Good Toast, and today I want to show you a way to solve the Kessler syndrome. Hello? Okay. Yeah, so as you can see, I've gotten this GPS system up, although I did have 4 sets of 3 to put up here, but one just didn't have enough fuel, but the launcher didn't have enough fuel to get there, so I just plummeted. Yeah, okay. So as you can see, we have this. Now let's say I wanted to cut off access to anyone above this point or below this point. Okay? So anything above anybody above the highest point in this orbit and the lowest point in the same orbit. So I got to get rid of these orbits. So let's say, you know, the satellite's done a good job and has served a great life, but it's just out of date and it's almost out of, and the solar panels are almost useless now. So what you do is just point at retrograde, and you see this little cyclotron right there. Okay, now it's a little off center, but it does the trick. It does the trick it needs to do. So as you can see here, we've just sent it into a d-orbit burn, and if we time warp down, of course I'm using time control 2 for extra time warpiness, then as we can see, it just burns up on re-entry, and what doesn't burn up on re-entry will just crash into the ground, or probably the ocean. Well, in real life, it would easily burn up on re-entry. Yeah, okay. Free shooting star. Now at your local area. Yeah. Now I can spin it, but that's not going to do much. It's actually probably going to make it worse. Maybe. Well, as soon as the arrow forces kick in. Yep. Wow. It hasn't been destroyed yet. That is surprising. Quick knock on wood. There you go. Now it has no way of getting power. That has been completely demolished as well. Status broken. Okay. But I can still do all my tax returns for the next 75,000 years. Go. Da 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 da. Doing my tax returns. Da da. Doing my tax returns. Da da. As it's falling to the ground, it's doing my tax returns. Da 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 da. And as you can see, what doesn't get burned up in the atmosphere just crashes into the ground. So yeah, that is how you solve Kessler syndrome. Just like all new satellites should be sent up with tiny little solid rocket engines strapped to them, and when their service life is over, just point at retrograde and turn on the solid rocket, or the small solid rocket engines, and just burn until you'll just burn up in the atmosphere. There you go. So as you can see, all of them have it, and I did try to be as accurate as possible, so it didn't just spin itself out of control and not go anywhere. But it was a little off, and oh well, it does what it needs to do. So yeah, that is how you solve Kessler syndrome. Just when you send it up, attach a little rocket engine, or like a little solid rocket engine on the back, and when it's time for the satellite to be decommissioned, you just boop, hit that button, it deorbits it, and then everything's happy day. Oh, you're going nowhere, buddy. Goodbye. Do the dance of death, which is just spin yourself out of control. Yeah, honestly, you could probably just deactivate it as soon as you, you turned it on. But, you know, actually, let me talk clearly, because words are not coming to me today as usual. So, you just, when you need to get rid of the satellite, when it served its full purpose and it isn't useful anymore. Okay, come on, I'm just waiting for you to. Come on, just like 18. There we go. Now. There we go. Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna deorbit one more of them, because why not? Tracking station. Actually, no. Let's say the equator orbit is getting a little too crowded, so I'm gonna have to thin it up a bit. Okay. Okay, guys. So let's do a bit of story. It's like, okay, guys, this is the Uktovka Lekapov, an old Russian relay satellite, and it served its purpose. It is losing its ability to collect power, and it isn't useful anymore to the Russian Space Agency. So it's time to decommission it and send it out in a blaze of glory. Goodbye, Russia. Goodbye. I don't know what I called that. Yeah. So that is all you need to do to prevent further Kessler syndrome. Just strap a small solid rocket booster to the back of the satellite, and once its mission is over and it is no longer useful, just point it retrograde and ignite the engine. Let it burn up in the atmosphere. Problem solved. And if some of it does survive, it'll just crash. I mean, it'll probably land in the ocean, but if it lands somewhere, odds are it's not going to land in anyone's house. And if it does, the odds are very slim, and you only need, and yeah, it's going to be costly if it does land on someone's house, but it's a lot cheaper than having your brand new multi-billion-dollar space station be hit by a part of a solar panel from a satellite that was decommissioned 30 years ago. So make sure to keep that toast burnt. Well, in this case, your satellite's burnt. And I'll see ya.